rate in El Paso, Texas, which is right on the border, is the lowest murder rate for any of the big cities in the country.
Don't try and convince me that there's no crime, that it's wonderful. The people that are being forced in, and these aren't just Mexican people, the people that are being forced, Mexico doesn't want people, they're forcing them into our country, and we're taking them and we're putting them in our jails and our hospitals, and we're paying them money through different sources. It's a disgrace.
With Miranda Khan, J.D. Hayworth back with you on Newsmax Prime. We just heard Donald Trump in a heated exchange with Katie Tur of NBC News over the topic of illegal aliens and crime.
Donald's comments come as the Obama administration appeared in front of the Fifth Circuit Court today for another round of arguments in the immigration lawsuit filed by Texas and 25 other states.
Now, the Department of Homeland Security has continued to carry out parts of the president's amnesty plan despite that ruling from the judge this past May. For more on the story, let's bring in two guests. First, Skyping in from Brooklyn, former INS agent Michael Cutler, and also joining us from Long Island, former New York police detective Tom Ruskin. Gentlemen, to you both, you have our thanks. Let's begin with this hearing in court today. What impact can it have on finally putting the kibosh on the president and his amnesty plans? Michael, to you first.
Well, you know, this nonsense is undermining national security and public safety. I mean, if you just look at the 9/11 Commission findings, this business about providing illegal aliens with identity documents without being able to even interview them in person or conduct field investigations is an invitation to Al-Qaeda. And I've made that point before congressional hearings, as you well know, because go back to November of 2001 when I testified at that hearing where you were participated. You know, our borders are our first and last line of defense. This president has done everything imaginable and perhaps unimaginable to dismantle our borders and abrogate responsibility for enforcing those critical immigration laws.
Thomas, let's go to you now. Donald Trump says that a lot of immigrants coming over the border are criminals. DOJ statistics back that a large portion of federal agents were made along the Mexican border. So why is the DHS continuing the president's plan to expand amnesty to criminals? Some would ask.
Well, you know, Department of Homeland Security is under the executive branch. I mean, the Secretary for Homeland Security reports directly to the President of the United States. With that said, there are people who are coming over the border who aren't criminals. But that's not the way to come into this country. The way to come into this country, and I agree with Michael, is you come in because you filed the appropriate papers and you immigrate to this country the same way our ancestors and our forefathers came into this country. They registered, they came into the country legally, and at that point in time, not everyone who's coming into the country is a criminal, though.
Well, Tom, let me ask you this, though. The situation as exists in New York with all the illegals in sanctuary city status, how tough is it for New York cops to enforce the law?
Well, it's not difficult for cops to enforce the law. They do it every single day. If you break the law and you're caught, you'll be arrested and brought to justice. So it's not necessarily that. It's the fact that we don't know who some of these people are. There's no registration. There's no fingerprints. Whoever they tell you they are, for the first time, if you arrest them, is who they go into the system, the national crime system, as well as the local systems, and that's where they get their NICID number. That's who they are. So if a guy comes over and he's really Joe Rodriguez, and he, ultimately gives the name of someone else, that's who he is in the system.
Michael, we want to go to you now. Whether you agree or disagree with Donald Trump, is Trump helping us all have an honest conversation about illegal immigration in this country?
Well, I think he is. And I don't agree with everything he says. He's kind of a bull in a tea shop. And it's not just about Mexico, by the way. I spent 30 years with the INS, half that time with the Drug Task Force. I spent years investigating and arresting aliens who came from other parts of the world. But the problem is we don't know who these folks are. And for Trump to do what he's doing is finally putting that issue out there, much to the chagrin of the politicians. And by the way, look at Macy's. They've canceled contracts as of other companies. Do you know that back last year, Macy's had to pay a $650,000 settlement for treating American black customers disparately by profiling? The hypocrisy with immigration is off the scale, and meanwhile, Americans are being killed on a daily basis across the country.
All right, Michael, last word to you, 30 seconds. A lot of people say the cost of deporting outweighs the cost of giving them amnesty. Is that true?
What did 9/11 cost us?
Amen.
Think about it.
That's all you have to say.
Doesn't that solve the problem? We need to have a legal system. When you undermine your own legal system, it's called anarchy, and that's what we have right now.
Michael Cutler, Thomas Ruskin, gentlemen, to you both, we thank you for your time here on Newsmax Prime. We might also point out, in terms of the cost of illegals, if they're granted citizenship, the entitlements would cost trillions of dollars. At any rate, it's not my opinion, it's yours we need, and you can send it to us via social media. You can use email, and there's Facebook. There's also Twitter, and who could forget our great website, newsmaxtv.com/comments. We'll be right back.